Hi, my name is Ryan Meada, and this is my opposite words theory. You can also blog me at Little King of Three Rice Patties at blogspot.com. That's what my name means. This is my opposites theory. So really just kind of think outside the box here. It's a hard concept to grasp if you're not following every piece. When you think about it, we would have to know or label something, anything, to understand anything at all, right? Humans understand and fashion their brains the most logical and obvious way, through how we interpret and understand the laws in our universe. The brain is a mix between a sponge and a supercomputer. In one word, logic. The flip side of that two-dimensional coin is emotion. The human soul or our heart is emotion. When you mix those two things together, you get a human being. With our logic, our brain, comes the thinking process and the ability to use our reasoning and problem-solving skills to predict or imagine the best decision for the best outcome to the given stimulus in our lives. There are a few things that you must agree with to understand this concept. First, you must understand how susceptible and vulnerable our brains are to attack and influence. This is the foundation of understanding this theory. When I say the brain is like a sponge, it is an under-exaggeration. The human brain is constantly interpreting, deciding, and responding to all the stimulus in our lives, consciously as well as subconsciously. Our brains are the most advanced supercomputer in the universe. Let me give you an example. White. What do cows drink? Okay, did you think milk? Chances are, regardless of your answer, and no matter how many times you have heard that, you can distinguish that the thought went through your head. Now, if our thoughts occur subconsciously, which they do, then our subconscious thoughts can be influenced also, and this riddle is an example of that. It shows us how our brains have been conditioned by norms and how something as simple as associating a color with another's commonly known knowledge to an animal can almost instantaneously give our brains a generic answer to the questions presented to it. Almost instantaneously this happens. Our brains are like the greatest weapon in our arsenal as a species, but can also be our greatest adversary, and like any weapon, if our enemy understood how it worked, our enemy would gain an advantage over us. People think of communication as always acted out in a physical form, meaning that in order for one to communicate with another, they would need to physically talk, text, email, etc., in order to communicate with that person. My theory suggests that we have been communicating subconsciously, and it has affected our ability to communicate properly. Let me elaborate. Before mathematics, before science, before any of that, there was the written and verbal word. Language and communication are the foundation of all of our understanding. In grade school, we learn letters and the sounds they make. We arrange them together to form words and learn the sounds that they make. We combine those words to form sentences and learn how to communicate. We learn verbs, nouns, prefixes, root words, etc., and how to associate those things with our senses: sight, sound, smell, taste, and feel. The Spanish language provides a perfect example of how we would first start to associate a word with our senses. So this is critical to understand as part of the foundation of everything that we know, because everything started with communication. At first, when learning how to speak this language, we have to consciously be aware of what sex we're talking to. You have to consciously focus on relating feminine and masculine words, or words ending in A, or words ending in O, to the sex of which you're talking to. So eventually this association between the sexes and sound becomes second nature and becomes part of the subconscious. In other words, our brains basically create a shortcut to the program. So try to use this as an example to draw from on the next topic. Eventually we were introduced to the concept of opposite words. Okay, what does the word opposite mean to you? Define the word opposite. The word opposite is commonly defined as different or something that is different than. But that is not always true with these opposite words. In fact, more often than not, these two opposite words can be another type of synonym. The word synonym, by definition, is two words that mean the same thing, or two words that share similars. But there are different synonyms that are found from opposite words. Example, white and black are the color spectrum. Male and female are sexes. Love and hate are polar extremes of affection. Okay, I found that many of these opposite words, word pairs, also have a one word similar. If this does not seem profoundly significant, let me explain further. Understanding opposite words trains our brains to identify the differences, and synonyms trains our brains to look for similarities in things. One conditions separation, and one promotes looking for likenesses. Think about it. We were taught this concept at such a young age that it is ingrained in the foundation of our psyches. I mean, if you agree that our brains have created shortcuts to make us more efficient, and that sometimes we can overlook things without even realizing it subconsciously, just like that riddle with the white, what do cows drink? It's like we created a shortcut. then you can actually see that we have literally been speaking different languages to each other. I mean, literally. The fact that so many people have come to understand the simple concept of opposite words is different completely nullifies its concept, and this is why. If we have defined to ourselves in our own heads with our words that the word opposite means different, and different means not the same, then how the hell can we rationalize not nullifying its concept? I'm not saying that we don't need to look for differences, because we do. And opposite words are the concept or comparison that gives us the ability to look for differences. Actually, our very survival depends on it, because depends on finding differences. We need the ability to look for differences so that we can draw a comparison off of to change anything or do anything differently. We need a comparison, because without a comparison to draw off of, there would never be any progress in the human race. It's just the way it is. We all, as a species that has the ultimate authority on our planet, need to become more aware of this hiccup or flaw in our mental makeup, and seek to understand or relate to one another more in order to consciously correct this hiccup. This will in turn train our minds to look for similarities rather than differences, and thus evening out the lopsidedness in our subconscious that has been going on for a while. I believe we have been subconsciously looking for differences and thus been training our minds to separate ourselves mentally and to emotionally and so spiritually. I believe that we're all connected. I believe that we live in God's imagination. Or the universe or whatever. It's like most atheists believe in God. They just call it universe. It's the same thing. I don't know what the hell it is. I don't know what the hell he is. It's just another, it's a force. To exist in such balance, there has to be, it can only be on the edge of chaos. You know what I mean? And that's what we are. We're constantly on the edge of chaos. Another way to look at it, we need to acknowledge where our technological minds want us to go, and that is to be more aware of the evolution of words and language and to learn how to communicate better. Another way to look at it is this. Maybe our creations that you see in today's technological worlds are actually manifestations of memories from our past incarnations that our souls have had, and through these memories we have created the ability to be telepathic to some extent. I mean, and accomplish these things through technology. Maybe we were subconsciously creating these gadgets in an attempt to recover the abilities that we once had as sentient beings aware of everything at once. Perhaps all we were doing is living out a lost sense that we once had built into our chemical makeup. And that's all I have so far. I'm trying to write a book about it. It's I've felt separate for so long from everybody, especially my family, and I think I figured it out one day. It's all the slightest changes in perspective. The slightest changes in perspective can make all the difference in the world. You know, where normal people draw a line in the sand, and that is, they say, this is my line. You know, this is my limit. I'm not going past this limit. You know, this is the law. I have that same line that I draw in the sand. I always have. But it's for other people to not cross. These are my boundaries. Do not cross these boundaries. You know, because we teach people how to treat us. So I think that when people can take an about face and realize that, oh my God, maybe I'm looking for differences when I should be looking for similarities with this person. Because when you like somebody, you're going to keep finding every reason to keep liking them. If you don't like them when you first meet them, you're going to find every reason to keep not liking them. So just being more aware of that and aware of the flaw in our communication and our subconscious, I think it would help if people knew how we've been communicating and how we've been relating things. And I mean, it's not just how we've done it too. And when I talk about enemy, I mean the powers that be that have all the money, the oppressors. You know who you are out there. I mean, Middle Eastern respiratory syndrome. What a perfect way to keep blaming the Middle East for everything. You know, swine flu. What does it remind me of? The first four things that come to mind: Mexico, pigs, dirty illness. I mean, come on. You're getting too obvious with your subliminal messaging. You know, we are a movement. This is. I believe that we're at the end of times, and the next people the next world, the next earth, the next human beings, whoever, what the hell it is, the people that are able to be honest with themselves and look into themselves and judge themselves before they judge anyone else, those are the ones that I would think would inherit the earth. That's all I got. I got more writing, so stay tuned. I hope you follow me on Facebook. You can follow me on YouTube. Until next time, peace out.